If we have coordinated attack, let's go back to 9/11. You know, the terrorists came back after trying a truck bomb. And what happens if we would have a massive attack across the country, not just isolated maybe in a state or two? What would that do to the system out there across the country? Because again, you know, we've had testimony in committee about on supply chain issues, and the supply chain is that we don't have it. And so what happens if we do have an attack like this? And again, because you're top two on supply chain and that exploitation of vulnerabilities, and then your number 7, the extreme physical events, either man-made sabotage and attacks. What happens? What happens to the grid?
Great question. And one of the reasons that physical cybersecurity standard, CIP 14, one of the things it does is it goes after the most, the diamonds, if you will, the most critical stations across the country, and ask each utility to go through a separate, a very precise set of assessments and say, if you have one of these diamonds in your territory, these are the protections you need to put in place. So that's worked very well so far for us. It protects it recognizes one size doesn't fit all, which has been made a couple times, but it makes sure those critical jewels, if you will, of the transmission grid are protected from cascading outages, from uncontrolled separation, and from voltage collapse or instability. So the whole grid collapsing because of that shouldn't happen, but you're going to, just like you have during a major storm, you're going to have a bunch of widespread local outages.
Well, let me follow up in the last 15 seconds that I have. When we have a major, like we had a wind shear in Ohio several years ago, and so we had power companies from across the country sending trucks up to Ohio to help us from the west side of the state to the east side of the state. But again, that's a state. But what happened, again, my concern is if we have a coordinated massive attack, do we have the supply chain out there to be able to meet it? Because we have a vulnerability out there. We all know, we've had a testimony in committee before on transformers, that there's only a set number there, but all of a sudden, now it's like, okay, we're going to do a triage out there to figure out who needs to get them first.
The industry works together to share equipment, and they have spares and redundancy, but certainly in a widespread attack, and you're going to face challenges. Some of these specialized equipment, like y'all saw today at West End, are long lead time items to replace. And they're specialized and specific usually for the type of substation that they're being plugged into. So that's why supply chain, it's moved to #1 on our list.
Well, thank you.